Have you ever stopped to think what would happen if one of the most important countries in Europe decided to turn its back on the European Union and seek support in a different direction? In the 21st century, well, that is exactly what Spain has just done. What seemed impossible just a few years ago has now materialized before our eyes. Madrid openly challenged the leaders of Brussels, ignored pressure from France and Germany, and chose to follow a new path. And guess who extended a hand at this decisive moment? The BRICS. Get ready to understand how this bold move could reshape the geopolitical map of Europe, challenge the dominance of Berlin and Paris, and kick off a new era of global alliances. And if you enjoy this kind of strategic analysis, subscribe now to the Area D Potter channel. Turn on the notification bell and join us in uncovering the backstage of global power. The decision that shocked the continent was Spain's refusal to support the new tariffs imposed by the European Union on Chinese electric vehicles. In other words, while France and Germany pushed for protectionist measures, Madrid said no. But this rejection was not an isolated act. It was a calculated strategic move that reveals something much bigger. Spain's growing dissatisfaction with the European economic model, which is increasingly suffocating for southern countries. For over a decade, the Spanish economy has struggled with high unemployment rates, low productivity, and dependence on agricultural and industrial exports. At the same time, its productive structure suffers to compete on equal footing with the stronger economies of the Bloc. Refusing the tariffs is therefore a cry for survival, and Spain decided to seek oxygen outside the traditional European axis, specifically in the east. The BRICS response was immediate and forceful. Within weeks, a true international support network was activated. China promised new rounds of billion-dollar investments, guaranteed continued purchases of Spanish agricultural products, and offered financing for projects in technology and clean energy. Russia opened export channels for Spanish products previously excluded from other markets, and offered natural gas at lower prices. India proposed partnerships in the pharmaceutical sector. Brazil signaled interest in agro-industrial cooperation agreements. South Africa suggested positioning Spain as a strategic bridge between Latin America and Anglophone Africa. The message was clear. Spain is not alone, and the BRICS are ready to fill the vacuum left by Europe. What we see now is a historic diplomatic shift. For the first time, a Western European country is breaking with the economic orthodoxy imposed by Brussels and showing that it is possible to chart a sovereign path. Even within the European Union, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro held firm to his position, even amid accusations of betrayal from European media and politicians. He is betting on realpolitik, on pragmatic diplomacy, and no longer on alliances based on tradition or historical convenience. Could this stance lead to retaliation? Yes. Could it isolate Madrid from certain European decisions? Also, yes. But at the same time, it opens a door for other southern European countries, such as Italy, Greece, and Portugal, to reflect on their own position within a bloc that often favors the north at the expense of the south. Spain's logic is simple. China is now a fundamental market for the Spanish economy. The Chinese middle class is increasingly consuming Spanish olive oil, wines, jamón ibérico, medicinas, and machinery. It has a consumer base with enormous purchasing power, one that could be lost if Spain follows the European protectionist path. More than that, China today offers resources, infrastructure, and technology without demanding harsh economic reforms or fiscal austerity, as the European Union often does. With promises of over $5 billion in Chinese investments in solar energy, green hydrogen, and biomedical technology, Madrid sees in the BRICS an alternative development platform, with fewer political strings attached. What's at stake here is not just trade. Spain is launching a philosophical challenge to the way Europe deals with alliances and power. By rejecting tariffs on China, the country is saying, we no longer want to be satellites of Berlin or Paris. We want autonomy, pragmatism, and freedom of choice. This new positioning places Spain on a path aligned with the multipolar logic of the 21st century, where power no longer revolves solely around Washington and Brussels, but is distributed among emerging poles such as Beijing, New Delhi, Moscow, and in this new world, the BRICS appear as the ideal lever for medium-sized countries to gain relevance without submitting to traditional blocs. This Spanish repositioning could redefine the European Union's foreign policy, trigger a wave of geopolitical reconfiguration in the south of the continent. Place the BRICS as an active agent at the heart of Europe and transform Spain into a bridge between continents: Europe, Latin America, Africa, and Asia. But there are also risks. France and Germany are pushing to sanction Spain internally. Major automakers fear that opening up to Chinese cars could affect their profits and influence. Brussels sees Spain's move as a dangerous break in the bloc's unity. Even so, the move has been made, and there is no turning back. If the gamble pays off, Spain will have inaugurated a new model of European engagement, showing that it is possible to remain within the EU without giving up economic sovereignty. Even more, it will have positioned the BRICS as a real force for global transformation, not just a group of developing nations, but a strategic bloc with growing influence. This Spanish attitude may be just the first step in a tectonic shift. The axis of global power is shifting, and attentive nations have already noticed. We are witnessing a decisive moment in recent European history. Spain has made its choice. Now, the question remains, will other countries have the same courage? If you want to keep following these global movements that are shaping the future of nations, subscribe now to the Era D. Potter channel. Turn on notifications and share this video. The world is changing fast, and we're here to decipher every step of this transformation. See you in the next episode.